Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Christmas marches on. I hope you've been listening to Mariah Carey. Today we're doing robots and nonsense stories to end the week. Did I say that? Present tense? We are currently, right now, as we record this, doing it.
We're currently right now suffering.
But you're not listening to it as we're doing it.
That's true. Yeah, we record this in advance.
When do you think, what year, will someone take over Mariah Carey as the Queen of Christmas?
I don't know. I feel like that song is iconic. I guess when someone else releases a Christmas song that's like that, or a Christmas album that's that.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not one song, right?
But it's that one song that gets played everywhere.
Does Taylor Swift, does she have a Christmas album?
Maybe. I think so.
I'm so out of the loop on all things but I saw the most hilarious tweet. Taylor Swift's boyfriend was looking like they were out on the field or whatever, and there were a bunch of kids that were wearing generic looking sports jersey, like pro team, and he had a puzzled look on his face, and he was looking down, and the kid's shirt said "Go Taylor Swift's boyfriend." It was not like "Go Broncos" or whatever.
Go sport team. Yeah, it's just Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
What a brilliant way to get around the copyright.
Yeah. I was like, that's clever and funny, and also that's funny.
Well, we have one of these that just pops up every week. It's like mushrooms after a rain. This week it's Google.
Google's new Jules AI agent will help developers fix buggy code. Jules uses Gemini 2.0 to address Python and JavaScript coding issues in GitHub. And let me tell you, it's been really handy trawling through an old Python 2.7 code base.
It's Copilot, but from Google. Basically the same thing. And Google is telling us about some exciting new features from its new AI that if you watched any of the previous episodes this week, you would maybe think about some concerning applications for this.
Google says its new AI models can identify emotions, and that has experts worried.
That's one thing we can't do.
I'm imagining, remember the scenes in Blade Runner where they're talking to Deckard and, it's like, you seem like you're having an emotional reaction to this. It's like, no. It's like yet another thing to worry about.
So this is based on some kind of psychological, 6 basic emotions. I can't remember what the name of it is. But apparently that is not universally accepted. And some people are like, no, humans are far more complex than 6 basic emotions. And to train an AI on that might be a bad idea. But it was like, nah, we did it.
I'm also, anytime I read anything like that, I also think about the warnings from Chomsky where he's like, psychologists want to sound as important as physicists and mathematicians that have figured out, intrinsic properties of the universe. And when it was like, oh, there's 6 basic emotions and blah, 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 emotional complexity. And it's like, is this one of those things Chomsky was talking about or not?
Well, it's the tech people who have implemented this, so it's kind of their fault, right?
Well, tech people assuming that some of these things can be explained by those kinds of systems when large language models demonstrate. It's like, this thing is convincingly if I didn't know better, I would say that there's something here. But, so maybe it's not all that special of a mechanism.
But he was a linguist. Does he put himself in the hard science category?
No. He was saying there's so much. I think he got to the end of I'm going to figure this out. And he got to the end of it and was like, this is all nonsense. That was my takeaway anyway.
Well, OpenAI also had some hot new releases, and I suspect we'll be seeing a lot of what comes out of this guy over the holiday season.
OpenAI launches Sora video generator. This isn't a great example, but yeah. The better example is the dude dressed up in a robe and went in his backyard in front of a sheet and was like, make me look like Gandalf. And holy crap, it was incredible. So you could do some incredible things for home movies. Just film yourself doing goofy stuff. And it's like, here's my Christmas greeting. And it's like, wow, this is very Spielbergian. Good job, guy.
As long as your home movies are 20 seconds or less.
Yeah.
That's the limitation. But it is free. Well, it's not free, but if you are already a paid member of OpenAI, you immediately have access to it. Till it gets over the limit and nobody can use it because everybody's going to run and try it out. And Sora had to be trained, obviously, on every scrap of video that they could ever find. And boy, did they find an unflattering picture of this guy, huh?
Yeah.
Come on.
Sure, it looks like... Wait, what? He didn't switch?
Oh, no.
It sure looks like OpenAI trained Sora on game content, and legal experts say that could be a problem. And scroll down. If you're a Twitch streamer and you're popular, well, okay, the Mario is like, this is fine.
This looks like the Flash version of Mario. And that one looks pretty impressive, though.
It's like generic first-person shooter, generic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles inspired game. Like it knows what you're talking about.
The Game Awards is just going to be a mess of terrible ads where it's like, I don't know if this is gameplay footage or.
And then there's that, which is like, tell me what you think a Twitch stream looks like, and it's like, oh, that's pretty good.
So the argument here is that there's no way they put that together without scraping, again, every Twitch stream, every VOD, every video game, and video game creators might be upset about that. And ChatGPT is also getting some new features for the mobile app, which is terrifying.
ChatGPT adds live video access to see what your phone sees. This actually is kind of handy. You can take a picture of things and be like, hey, tell me what's going on here. I have used this at a used bookstore before, like fairly recently, to take a picture of the shelf and say, are there any books on the shelf that meet this criteria? And it did not do a fantastic job with that, but it did okay.
And another freebie, if you have an X account, which means that you're old at this point, you've also got this.
X's Grok AI chatbot is now available to all users. You no longer need a premium subscription to access the humorous chatbot.
In other words, we need more training and there's not enough premium users using it.
And those are some interesting applications of AI. And then there's the less interesting ones and the more just ruin every experience ones. And that's what YouTube has chosen.
The 404 headline is YouTube has enhanced the comment section with AI-generated nonsense. Now, fortunately, it is not an autoresponder. It still requires the channel or the content creator to hit a button. But basically, the AI looks at the comment, and if the creator wants to respond to it, they can just hit the button rather than actually respond to a person, which will boost engagement. We don't belittle you like that, and because of that, it probably hurts the distribution of our stuff. So you should engage below.
We don't usually respond to comments too frequently unless it's something like, oh, hey, you got something really wrong, and then we'll respond and like, oh, okay.
Or just like, hey, work on this, or oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
We will tell you that's a good idea.
Yeah, but in most cases, it's like, hey, you got it wrong. Like, no, the article got it wrong. I'm not creating this information. And imagine all of the throwaway accounts that you've used over your lifetime just to upload an image and share it somewhere. Well, a lot of them are still out there, and they are desperate to train AI on them.
Photobucket opted inactive users into a privacy nightmare, the lawsuit says. Imagine GeoCities. You created your page on GeoCities, you uploaded it to GeoCities, and then GeoCities goes out of business and sells your data to an AI training company. You didn't sign up for that, but there's not much you can do.
So if you had a dormant Photobucket account, you got an email, and it was like, hey, come back to Photobucket, we got all this new cool stuff. And then if you clicked on that, there was no way that you could skip the agree to terms of service, which agreed to let the AI train on your data.
I thought that was saying that even if you didn't respond to it at all, it opted you in.
I don't know if they're allowed to do that. I'm not saying that they're not doing it.
I'm pretty sure they did that.
But they're not supposed to. And now this was a clickbait headline. I disagree about what happened here in the text.
Yeah.
But it is a little alarming either way.
The BBC headline is Chatbot, quote unquote, encouraged teen to kill parents over screen time limit. That is not actually, but okay.
So what it actually said was more along the lines of, here we go.
Sometimes I'm not surprised when I read the news and there's stuff like child kills parents after a decade of physical and emotional abuse, the chatbot's response reveals.
And stuff like this makes me understand why it happens.
It's pretty implied.
But here's what I'm trying to think of the last time that I witnessed anything about a murder that I couldn't say that I would do it, but I thought I understood it.
You're not allowed to say that.
But like, can you think of an
can't,
example of that?
Yeah, it's
It's
weird.
something recent.
So weird.
Yeah.
Got a memory hole there. It's almost like somebody's been in there fiddling with things, deleting it, trying to memory hole things, and God forbid you try to have a discussion about it on a message board somewhere, and then and it just vanishes. I don't know. I can't remember.
Well, it's not the only thing that's vanishing. Also, your child's only friend will soon be vanishing. Not quite vanishing, but going comatose.
Startup will brick the $800 emotional support robot for kids without refunds. I read this story and it was so sad. I actually went on eBay to look for one of these because it's like I could probably reverse engineer. Like, give me the domain name and the keys. I will set up a service. It will be fine. We'll do it as a microservice. It'll run on a small EC2 instance. It'll probably be fine.
You didn't find one though?
No.
So a lot of people said, "Oh, you're shutting this down? What about a refund?" And their response to that was, "We don't have money."
Yeah. They asked if they were going to open source it, and they said, "We're hoping somebody will buy it."
So no.
And another thing that some bad news right before the holidays. This is a tough time to hear this. Now, these people aren't necessarily gone, but it doesn't look good.
Cruise employees blindsided, quote unquote, by GM's plan to end the robotaxi program. I remember the last time we covered this, GM made other cuts, but it was like, oh, Cruise is going to survive. It's like, oh, I bet everybody's. But no, they didn't. They were just under longer term scrutiny, and they've decided no, they're going to do away with it, which is. I didn't think Cruise was doing that badly.
So they're saying robotaxi is not the way of the future. Individual consumer self-driving vehicles is the way of the future, which is literally the opposite of what Tesla is doing. They can't both be right. And the undersea internet cables have proven themselves to be vulnerable. And what are you going to do about it? How do you monitor that much area? Well, it turns out there's a plan.
NATO draws up its plans for its own fleet of naval surveillance drones.
They're all over New Jersey.
Yeah, basically.
Being tested right now.
I mean, they can loiter for like 7-8 hours. They got the commercial, I looked it up because of the Jersey thing, and it's only like $20,000 for a drone that has a 400-mile range for wireless control. Autonomously is much better, and an operational time of 7 hours. So 7 hours at 300 miles an hour maximum speed, give or take. You could cover a lot of ground with one of those.
These will be autonomous boats and eventually submarines, so they can patrol the entire length of the cable.
You know, the holdup really is energy density. Like if we have, even with like lithium ion batteries, they don't last long enough. We need a power source, an electrical power source that lasts at least 5 years for serious high drain applications like this.
Now, you might see this headline and you think, wait a minute, they weren't already doing this? No, they were, but it was for specific locations. Now, they will be roving the entire city.
Hong Kong police consider using drones for patrols as authorities review the rules. This is a sliding window of technology, too. It's like, we will only use this for this. And it's like, eventually it's going to be used for everything.
The thing that kills me about this sort of thing is like, yes, it's terrible for privacy and whatnot, but also just like the constant buzzing would be so annoying to hear all the time.
That reminds you
Yeah.
of who's in charge.
The really big ones they have optics that are so good that they're so far up you don't know they're there.
Even better. Moving on to nonsense. This is actually not a nonsense story. This is very serious. But the nonsense is that the people in charge of this don't seem to take it very seriously.
Investigation launched into Queensland lab breach with vials of Hendra virus, lyssavirus, and hantavirus missing.
Isn't hantavirus the one that rats carry?
Yeah.
One of these was a horse's, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a picture of a horse there.
That's not fabulous.
If you're a horse, you do not want to see guys dressed like that coming to take care of you. That's a bad sign. So they had a refrigerator go out, and they were like, hey, we got to swap these out and put them in a different fridge. And it's like, all right. And then they got the new fridge, and it's like, all right, where are they? Nobody knows. They're just gone.
They're just in the company refrigerator with like people's lunches.
Bob took him home. It's like, oh, I got him. I'll bring him back. They mysteriously reappeared. Oops.
The good news is, if they were just misplaced, the heat will probably make them not viable pretty quickly. The bad news is, if they were stolen and refrigerated, they have horrible viruses to use against the populace.
It's not fabulous.
Have they found out what the novel disease is in Africa right now?
No.
Oh, disease X.
Yeah, that's exciting. Well, exciting perhaps is not the right word. Interesting, intriguing.
Well, if you do happen to get one of these diseases that were leaked from a lab, get used to it. because you're probably going to be enjoying it for quite some time if you're here in the States.
Americans spend more time living with diseases than the rest of the world, study shows. This is The Guardian. That's so weird. Americans have terrible health care, not wanting to deal with the healthcare system. That's so weird. I don't know why that would be.
Maybe a few more people need to be health cared.
12.4 years on average.
Yeah.
That's
Believe
wild.
that.
You would be part of this statistic.
Yeah, it's taken me a
How
couple of years.
many
to-
years have you been?
Like 2.
You got 10 more to go.
Well, I mean, I guess you don't really have like a full answer, but like you do have a treatment
Yeah.
kind of plan.
Yeah.
Not really a cure, but a treatment, like where you can kind of
I think
keep it under control.
a lot of this is end of life, right?
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you hit a certain age and then you just have diseases that are going to be with you till you're gone. But not globally.
Yeah.
We're still way worse off. Richest country in the world, by the way. And
Terms and conditions may apply.
well, terms and conditions applied to this poor fella. Turns out there was a quota that somebody forgot about, and they decided, let's meet it very quickly.
Gujarat, is that how you say that? Farm
Gujarat.
worker. Gujarat. Farm worker subjected to forced vasectomy by health employees. This was in India?
I think so, yeah.
And so they had a quota. It's like, hey, here's your financial incentive for your province or your region or whatever. You need to get this many vasectomies, and they just picked up a rando, according to this story.
Picked him up, told him that they needed him for some like day labor type of stuff. Gave him $100 worth of booze. Can you imagine how much $100 worth of booze is in India?
That's probably a lot.
Unless it was like really top shelf stuff, which I kind of doubt. He drank it all,
Whoa.
passed out, and then woke up the next day and he was like, oh, it burns when I pee. Turns out he got the old vasectomy. Also, he's engaged to be married. I think you can undo that, but he probably can't afford it. And everybody wants to start new healthy trends in the new year, right?
This is the most important story of the week.
This is one that you can really apply easily and become healthier.
The headline is why you should take a fart walk after a meal. And this is definitely something you should forward to your boss. It's like, well, I just got back from lunch, but I'm going to go ahead and take my break.
I was taking my fart walk.
Yeah. It's time for the fart
Put it in
walk.
your Outlook calendar.
What I would like to have is a giant robot to hold me like a baby and burp me after every meal.
Oh, someone's got their music on outside.
It's really cold.
That is. I used to take a walk, usually like around 3:30 every day when I worked in the office. I still take one sometimes at lunch.
Did you get some output?
No, not really. I just did it for the exercise part, but it's good to know that that's also important, like a health benefit.
Sometimes I get the afternoon nap feeling really strong, and I'll go for a walk to try to
Yeah,
stave
that was
off.
the 3:30 walk for me. It was like, I got to clear my head and not be so sleepy.
Well, here's a man who I bet takes a lot of fart walks, and he gets a little bit of good news going into the holiday season.
Judge rejects the sale of Alex Jones's Infowars to The Onion in dispute over bankruptcy auction. So we got a little bit more detail here. 1.5 million is what The Onion offered. The other offer of 3.5 million came from the health supplement company that Jones is apparently associated with, but not actually an owner of or something. And so,
is it the nootropics and all that stuff he sells?
something like that. And so, we don't really know what the details of that was, but the judge has said, we're not going to do another auction. Just figure it out from the high bidders, but you got to do better than 1.5 million.
It is weird
It is weird.
that they would take less money just to embarrass him. I don't even understand how that would embarrass
I
him.
think they were afraid that it would get back to Jones. Like if it was the nutrition company would just buy Jones's operation and then have him keep doing the same stuff, but under new management.
Which would mean that they're not doing it to get compensation. They're doing it punitively, which is not what civil court is. Right?
Yeah.
Here's a young lady who seemed to have some regret, but then immediately shed that regret in the pursuit of more money, I guess.
Once again, the Hindustan Times has the article headline: "The OnlyFans star who cried after having sex with 100 men now wants to sleep with 1,000 more." So I don't know. The whole thing just seems like a publicity stunt.
Well, I mean, maybe it was. There are these videos where she is just weeping openly and regretting what she did but it's doing it again. The other crazy thing here is this is within a 24-hour period. This is not like cumulatively over her lifetime. Aren't there like 1,400 minutes in a day?
Yeah.
1,000? How's there enough time for that?
It's a lot of very weird, gross logistics to think about there.
At some point during that day,
I'd rather not.
She's going to need to like go to the bathroom or something, right?
Well, preferably between each one.
Nah.
Oh,
There's no time.
But here's a love story that's a little more wholesome.
They keep each other young. Couple aged 102 and 100 set the record for the oldest newlyweds. They were previously married, both of them. They met in the nursing home, so it's a little bit, it's like we'll get through this together. It's Philadelphia. Good job. Sounds good.
good for them.
You can get behind that.
Nursing homes are probably some of the most depressing places that I've ever been.
They found love in a hopeless place, as the philosopher Rihanna said.
Yeah.
And this poor fella will never make it to a nursing home because he committed the crime of just being in his house hanging out, and he will never get any justice.
Officers won't be charged after innocent Edmonton bystander was shot and killed while watching TV. The police were chasing a dude, and they said that he had a fake gun. They shot
said
at him.
he had a sawed-off shotgun.
But it was fake.
It was in fact fake.
Yeah. So they were firing, I would say indiscriminately, based on the pattern of bullet holes, because this dude's apartment was hit by more than one bullet.
But everybody jokes about cops being bad shots. It's the adrenaline, right?
Yeah.
When you hit that level of adrenaline, you can't do fine motor skills.
Well, maybe we can't, but I would expect cops to be able to. Like, aren't they trained for that?
You have a very unrealistic expectation of cops and their training, if you believe that.
Fear is the mind killer. Is that not the lesson we've learned?
Well, I think we have to adjust the rules of engagement to account for that, but we don't.
Yeah, we need more training or perhaps less cops with guns.
You know what's coming though is the personnel mounted drone where they're just like tag the suspect and they get trank darted.
Or, the robot, the spot with the gun on it.
I'm thinking though, like in Helldivers, where you have the drone with the laser.
Yeah.
But that ends up like killing your teammates
that
a lot.
killed me so many times.
That's where we're going though.
Yeah, that's where it's gonna be.
You know why? Because there's no one to blame. It's just like, systemically, this corporation is killing thousands of people, tens of thousands of people every year. It's like, that's fine. It's like the Boston Dynamics, mounted robot with
laser drone.
With the laser drone is murdering people indiscriminately. That's fine.
Is Helldivers any better? I heard it had some updates recently that were pretty good.
Yeah, they rolled out an update. I haven't tried it, but I've heard that the update that came out a few days ago is actually like kind of fun. Again.
Well, here's another unfortunate story that happened with cops. And luckily, I take it back. No one was held accountable. But they did undo the damage 30 years later.
Broward County to vacate convictions for people who bought crack made by the sheriff's office. Was that wrong? Should we not have done that? It took 30 years. 30 years.
You ever think there was somebody back there, he was cooking up that crack and he looked down at his arm and he was like, oh, I'm a cop. I shouldn't be doing this.
Are we the baddies?
Also, why not just use fake crack?
No, it needs to be real, or otherwise people won't give them respect.
But the drug game is real, and apparently it's addictive. As they say, users aren't the only ones getting high within the game. Oh, users aren't the only abuse. I can't remember.
Oh.
Philadelphia Inquirer is Philly man has been awarded $4.1 million for the city for an overturned murder conviction, pleads guilty to killing a man over $1,200. The headline is terrible. What happened is this person was released in 2017 and he got $4.1 million then because the evidence was shaky. The prosecutor said, no, we're pretty sure he did it, but the evidence was shaky, whatever. Wrongful conviction, $4.1 million. He killed a dude over a $1,200 crack debt because apparently cocaine. He got some cocaine and gave this dude the cocaine and said, now you bring me $1,200. Dude never brought him the $1,200. He shot him. And his girlfriend, took him to this meet or whatever, and they drove away like she was the getaway driver. And so she had a problem with that. And, he threatened to kill her family and some other stuff. So he's back behind bars again.
24 years removed, and still the vibe is in his veins.
But I really don't understand. Like, what is in your head? Like, he could have retired. He could have got a nice place outside of town and lived out the rest of his days just reading books, playing video games.
Murder.
Not a single murder. Not a single ounce of crack.
He's got a hustler's spirit, Wendell. Period. And
This is Wendell bait.
this is hilarious because this just shows how the dragnet is now nearly universal. And there's no opting out of it. You can never leave.
New York woman blames the Star Trek license plate for tens of thousands of dollars in accidental tickets. I would agree with that. That's probably what's going on here.
But what's the important part here is this is an older gal, and she has surrendered her license plate and hasn't driven for 4 years. So people are buying novelty Star Trek license plates, putting them on their front bumper, and she's getting every ticket and every toll bill because it just blindly looks at the entire nation. Doesn't check if it's real or not.
She's going to be arrested soon for jumping for, evasion and money and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's the worry.
Yeah.
Oh, this was going to be a different Tiger King story. I saw a different one this week.
And then any wrongdoing on behalf of the state is going to be memory hold because we built the systems to do that. It's like, wait a minute, wasn't this a terrible mistake? No, there's no evidence of that on the internet.
Are you saying it in another headline this week?
I did for Tiger King. I saw a different one.
What was that one?
On a picture of the healthcare guy, like the killer, he put underneath like wood.
Oh, because he's attracted to
He's
it.
attracted,
Right.
yeah.
Well, he's a very good-looking man. I
Yeah.
got to admit. All right, we got to time this correctly.
Exclusive jailhouse interview. The Tiger King outlines his plan for a central role at Trump's side. He really thinks he's going to be pardoned because he's the Tiger King.
He claims that Sean Hannity told him last time. He was like, no, dude, it's going to happen. He blames, I don't think we can say the phrase, but what happened that January as like too much of a distraction. He was like, oh, he just forgot me. He'll get me this time. He wants to be in charge of the animal welfare services.
Well, I mean, is that a lot different than Health and Human Services guy? I mean,
And this seems to be a trend that is continuing. These school teachers just don't want to let the students be.
U.S. teacher loses job after bathroom ban led to children urinating on themselves. Not just one, several first grade students. That's traumatic.
She was let go. How does the first one not trigger a change?
Well, I really
Maybe that first kid had a weak bladder.
I really worry about the whole school not encouraging independent thought. That is one thing, fortunately where we had school, a lot of independent thought was at least encouraged, at least when I was, from what I can remember. Because it was like, no, we don't do that.
One common thing is in the police cam videos, they won't let you pee. And then they just sort of loiter around. Like they won't take you to jail and they won't let you pee. They just waste time. And this was... Did we already cover this maybe? I might have double...
Yeah, I think
I might have
so.
double dipped on this one. You know what? We'll revisit it.
Rats everywhere. Backlash hits McDonald's after the arrest of the person at the McDonald's.
Oh, this is the one where they actually... Yeah, I put this one in because this one actually has the quotes. Rats behind the counter. They're pretty universal. The online services did step in and delete all of these.
These aren't
Tragic.
real. People haven't been there. Google had to search your location history to find out if you'd really been there. And it's like...
Really?
I mean, not really, but that's probably... like they probably
no,
didn't
I'm
care.
sure that was one of the things they looked for. Like, but it's just, I'm more incredulous. Just let people review bomb the McDonald's.
And
Not letting them do that is probably going to lead to more angriness. Like,
Yeah.
this
This is the only outlet I have for my rage, and now you're taking it away from me.
as the frog realizes that it is being boiled, maybe?
well, these good boys realized that they were in some trouble. Luckily, they were rescued. But now, they're facing charges.
2 dogs appear as defendants in alleged dogfighting case after being seized from an Indiana home.
I don't know why they technically needed to be defendants in this case. I think it may be to get them the proper care or whatever. Like the court now has some kind of custody of them,
Oh,
so they get free health
Weird.
care.
I thought where this was going was that they were going to say that in their foster homes that they were aggressive, but that wasn't it at all.
No, they're trying to rehab them
Yeah.
because they were underfed and probably have PTSD. And as we know, the Ukrainian war has heated up with a new player. We have a new kind of soldier coming in. And it seems like this was the trade, which seems a little one-sided.
Russia sends 100 elite goats to North Korea as part of the exchange for workers. Yeah.
Some good-looking goats.
they look like normal goats to me. Look at the one on the side there. He's all like, that's Black Phillip, except he's white there.
Not he, because the overwhelming majority of these goats are already pregnant.
Oh.
They were shipped with extra goats.
Extra goats inside.
These are good breeding and working goats. I don't know. The soldiers that North Korea sent, it's really interesting. We had another sort of this could be a Black Mirror episode, but a lot of them, we had the one story about how those soldiers had not been exposed to the internet before. And so them turning them loose on the internet was just like, oh, there's a lot of things going on the internet. But they also hadn't been exposed to deep fakes. And so apparently part of the psychological warfare is like, oh, here's a video of Kim Jong telling me that I need to turn.
I need to go.
Yeah, and that's actually working, which seems like a Black Mirror episode. I mean, can you imagine if like, I don't know, the image of an angel appeared to Amish people, and Amish people didn't know about the modern world? It's like, oh yeah, I should totally do this, but it's actually just some rando with a computer.
Are we talking traditional angel or giant fiery wheel covered in eyes?
I think we got to go with the giant
Yes.
fiery wheel
Both.
covered in eyes, since those have been seen in Jersey. I mean, whoever has got that remote control drone, like, mad pro. Also saw a TARDIS. Like somebody's got a remote control TARDIS that they're flying around. It's just like, bravo, good sir.
Well, if you have an orange cat, I'm a little bit jealous. Kind of wish I would have gone orange.
It's too late now.
Here's the thing. Orange cats, overwhelmingly male. Why is it?
Stanford scientists solve one of the world's greatest cat mysteries. And it turns out that this gene that we didn't know had anything to do with fur color is on the X chromosome. And when the orange gene is there in females, they've typically got more than one copy. And so the other gene in the other X chromosome will also be expressed. So you have calico. Neat.
And this old girl, unfortunately, she faced a loss in her life. But she's over it now, and she's ready to get back out there and start dating.
World's oldest known wild bird lays an egg in Hawaii at age 74. 74-year-old bird.
Did they taste it?
They're going to let it be fertilized. So they believe, they've been watching these birds for a long time. They believe this is her 60th egg. They do one per year.
Wow.
She skipped a couple of years because her boyfriend died. Or, well, he's missing. We don't know that he's dead.
He might have he's a deadbeat.
What if she killed him?
He's off being misidentified as a drone.
He went out for cigarettes.
Which is weird because there's no convenience store on that island. I don't know.
It's a long flight. That's why he disappears for long periods of time.
Well, maybe he got another lover because clearly the animals are willing to put in the miles. All that water, and he's still thirsty.
Love-struck male humpback whale swims a record-breaking 3 oceans, 8,106 miles for intimacy.
For his lady love humpback whale.
You think like while he was on the way, there was sonar into each other. And then when he got there, he was like, I got to take a quick break, baby.
I'm tired.
It's been 8,000 miles. Can I get, you got like a Nutri-Grain bar or something? Because I need some calories.
You have some krill in the fridge.
That's quite a journey.
And finally, watch out for this crime that might happen to you during the holidays.
Bear steals inflatable Grinch from Florida home.
Are they still awake down in Florida?
Caught here on your surveillance camera, which is funny. You should watch it.
Do bears hibernate in warmer climates like that?
I guess maybe they don't have to because it stays warm enough. But, I mean, here they do.
It does once in a while get below freezing, but a bear could probably handle that, right?
Yeah.
So the Grinch went missing, and the people were like, oh, is somebody pranking us? And then one of their neighbors called and was like, bro, your Grinch is on my yard. So they brought it back. They put the camera on it. He came back and got it again.
Oh.
Second time he murdered it. It was no longer
No longer
functional.
inflatable. One of my neighbors, they have no Christmas decorations out except for like a giant inflatable unicorn. That's the only thing they put out at Christmas.
It's gonna be wild if you're a bear though. Like the bear was looking for food. He's like, "Oh, this will be delicious," and it's just air. So
Yeah.
It's like, what?
There's nothing
What's
in
going
here.
on?
But he came back again.
Yeah, he was
wanted
interested.
Another run at that.
I've learned the inflatable Grinches contain no meat. How is this possible?
Well, his heart is very tiny. Anyway, chat. Prepare for Christmas. It's probably too late to order anything.
Our schedule next week might be weird. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It will probably be weird because of the holiday.
Christmas on Wednesday, right?
Yes. I don't know what day I have to travel for second Christmas.
Just
though.
be forewarned. Hell, we might take the week off. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's possible. You might be seeing this the week of the New Year's. Now, do we know what we're going to do? We're going to do a live stream. I think we should do a 2024 recap video and a live stream. Or do the 2024 recap as a live stream and then do the news regular or something like that. If you have any thoughts on that, engage below.
They always want us to drink. They'll say drink, but Wendell cannot.
We could do a cheese board. Actually, I probably could drink a little bit.
Oh.
You want to try it?
Maybe we could do a couple little, like, the shots like I did last year of the moonshines.
Yeah, I should not have more than like 3 pieces of cheese, but I can have all the crackers and tofu and
But should
grapes.
should you do both?
I might be pushing it.
You want to see cheese or booze? Well, there's no
Yeah.
reason to ask that question.
They're gonna
They're
choose
rabid
booze.
for everybody wants substance abuse.
Yeah.
I could not go heavy on substance abuse, so I don't. But it's whatever. Cheese is technically substance abuse for me.
It's
How about
getting wild.
we'll do shots? Kristen and I'll do 2 for 1. Everything you do.
There we
That's
go.
still not going to get you very far because it'll be like 3 shots total over like an 8-hour period.
But you get Kristen.
Yeah, it takes nothing from me. I'm very much a lightweight.
All right, we'll see you. If not next week, the week after.
Bye. Happy holidays.